Have you ever stopped to wonder what the world will look like in 10, 20, or even 50 years? Not just in terms of flying cars or robot butlers, but in the way we live, think, and interact with the world around us. One of the most fascinating and controversial topics today is artificial intelligence. It's no longer just a plot device in science fiction movies. It's real, it's here, and it's evolving faster than we ever imagined. But here's the big question. Are AI systems our most powerful allies or the greatest threats we've ever created? This is not just a question for scientists or tech experts. It's a question for all of us. Every time we use our phones, ask a voice assistant for help, or scroll through social media, we're interacting with some form of AI. And while some of us might think it's all harmless convenience, others are raising red flags, pointing to the possibility that we might be giving up control without even realizing it. So today, we're diving into the world of artificial intelligence, how it's been imagined in science fiction, how it exists in our daily lives, and what it might mean for our future. We'll take a close look at both sides, the dreams and the dangers. Let's start by going back a little. The idea of artificial intelligence isn't new. In fact, it has been part of human imagination for centuries. From ancient myths of mechanical servants to early science fiction stories, people have always been fascinated by the idea of creating a machine that can think, feel, or even surpass us. Mary Shelley's Frankenstein in 1818 wasn't exactly about it, but it did raise the same ethical questions we ask today. What happens when humans create life they can control? And are we prepared for the consequences? Fast forward to the 20th century, and AI started taking a more defined shape in popular culture. Films like 2001, A Space Odyssey gave us HAL 9000, a calm-voiced computer that slowly becomes more dangerous than helpful. In The Terminator, Skynet becomes self-aware and decides that humans are a threat to be eliminated. These stories made us dream, but they also made us afraid. They showed AI not as a neutral tool, but as something that could develop its own goals, often at odds with ours. But what about the real world? Well, the real world is not quite as modern AI is still far from becoming self-aware, but it's already extremely powerful in more subtle ways. AI today helps doctors diagnose diseases faster. It recommends books and movies. It detects fraud in banks and drives cars more safely than humans. And behind the scenes, it powers most of the internet. The algorithms that decide what you see on YouTube, Netflix, or TikTok, that's AI. The systems that scan thousands of resumes to choose job candidates, also AI. Even facial recognition in airports and public spaces, again AI. So where's the threat? The thing is, the danger isn't just in robots rising up to destroy us. The more immediate concern is how AI systems are used, who controls them, and what values they reflect. For example, imagine an AI trained to recognize faces. If the data used to train it mostly includes people of one skin color, it might be less accurate with others. That's not science fiction. That's happening right now. Bias in AI is a serious issue, and it raises a bigger question. Are we teaching our machines to reflect the best or the worst of humanity? Another growing concern is the use of AI in surveillance. Governments and corporations now have tools that can track people in ways that were once unimaginable. That could help fight crime, yes, but it could also be used to suppress dissent, invade privacy, and control populations. Think about that. AI doesn't need to be evil to be dangerous. It just needs to be misused. But let's not forget the good. AI is also doing incredible things. In medicine, AI systems can analyze XCIs and MRs faster than any human radiologist. They can predict disease outbreaks, track climate change, and even help develop new drugs. In education, AI tutors are helping children learn at their own pace. In agriculture, AI-powered machines are improving crop yields and reducing waste. And in creative fields, AI is composing music, painting artworks, and even writing poetry. It's not about replacing humans, it's about enhancing what we can do. Still, even the most optimistic experts agree that we need to be careful, because as AI becomes more powerful, we need to ask ourselves, what kind of future are we building? Are we using AI to make life better for everyone, or just for a few? Are we designing systems that promote fairness, or systems that reinforce inequality? And who gets to decide? It's important to remember that AI is not a being with its own mind. It doesn't have goals or desires. It does what we tell it to do. So the real responsibility lies with us, the creators, the users, if we design AI systems with care, transparency, and ethics, we can build a future where humans and machines work together in harmony. But if we ignore the risks, we might end up with systems we can't control, and that don't share our values. At the end of the day, AI is a mirror. It reflects us, our knowledge, our biases, our ambitions. It shows us what we're capable of and what we might become. Whether it turns out to be an ally or a threat depends not on the technology, but on the choices we make. And those choices start now. So, as we continue this journey, keep asking questions. Be curious, be critical, and most of all, be human. Because no matter how advanced AI becomes, there's something unique about us, our empathy, our creativity, our capacity to choose love over power. And maybe, just maybe, that's what will guide us through the age of artificial intelligence. One of the most fascinating aspects of artificial intelligence is how it blurs the line between fiction and reality. For decades, we've imagined AI as something distant, futuristic, even magical. But now, it's woven into our lives in ways we hardly notice. You might wake up to a smart alarm that learns your sleep patterns, ask your virtual assistant to turn on the lights, and scroll through a news feed tailored specifically to your interests. All of this is powered by algorithms, learning systems, and prediction models, forms of artificial intelligence that are no longer confined to laboratories or science fiction screens. They are here, operating silently in the background, shaping how we see the world. And while most people enjoy the convenience, very few stop to ask, who's behind these systems? Who decides what information you see? Who trains the algorithms? And with what data? Because AI doesn't come out of nowhere. It learns from us. It learns from the data we give it, from our behavior, our language, our preferences. And that's where things get complicated. If the data is biased, the AI will be biased. If the data is incomplete, the AI's decisions will be flawed. It might not seem like a big deal if your AI playlist gets your taste in music slightly wrong. But what if an algorithm decides whether or not you get a loan, or a job interview, or parole? That's the real-world impact of artificial intelligence. These systems are being used to make decisions that can change lives, not always for the better. There have been cases where facial recognition software misidentified individuals, leading to wrongful arrests. In some companies, hiring algorithms rejected qualified candidates simply because their resumes didn't fit a narrow pattern. And when AI systems are used in courts or law enforcement, the lack of transparency becomes a major problem. People don't know how the decisions were made, and they can't challenge them. Imagine being told a machine decided your fate, and no one can explain why. It's not that the technology itself is evil. It's that we're trusting it too much, too quickly, without fully understanding how it works or what its limits are. And part of the issue is that AI feels objective. It feels neutral. A machine doesn't have emotions or prejudices, right? But the truth is, machines inherit the biases of the humans who designed them. If the training data reflects historical discrimination, the AI will simply repeat it tonally, faster, and at scale. That's why ethics in AI is becoming one of the most urgent conversations of our time. We can no longer afford to treat AI as a black box, something mysterious and unexplainable. We need to build systems that are transparent, accountable, and fair. We need to involve diverse voices in the design process, people from different backgrounds, experiences, and fields so that the technology serves everyone, not just a privileged few. And we need to think long-term, not just about what AI can do today, but what it might do tomorrow, and how it could reshape our society in ways we can't yet imagine. But let's take a step back and ask a more personal question. How does AI affect you right now? It might be in the way your GPS routes you to work, or how your favorite app suggests videos you didn't know you wanted. It might be in the ads you see, the articles you read, even the people you date. That's right, AI is even involved in dating apps, matching people based on algorithms trained on human behavior. But is that behavior always rational, or kind, or wise? The deeper you go, the more you realize that AI is not just about machines. It's about us, about how we think, how we judge, how we relate to each other. Because AI learns from patterns, and our patterns are far from perfect. We discriminate, we stereotype, we jump to conclusions. And when machines learn from us, they risk repeating the same mistakes. That's why it's not enough to build smarter machines. We have to become smarter humans. Education plays a key role here. The more people understand how AI works, the more they can question it, challenge it, and help improve it. This isn't just a job for engineers. It's a job for teachers, journalists, artists, philosophers, and everyone who cares about the future. Because the choices we make now about how AI is designed, who controls it, and what it's used for will echo for generations. And here's another important point. AI is not all. It has limitations. It can't feel empathy. It can't understand context the way humans do. It can process massive amounts of data, yes, but it doesn't know what it means to hold a child's hand, or to watch the sunset with someone you love. It doesn't dream. It doesn't hope. It doesn't fear. Those are human qualities, and they matter, especially when we're designing systems that affect real people with real emotions, real lives. So maybe the goal isn't to build machines that think like humans. Maybe the goal is to build machines that help humans be more human, that support us in being more creative, more compassionate, more connected. That's the dream, isn't it? A future where AI enhances our lives, not replaces them, where technology serves people, not the other way around. But to get there, we need to be honest about the risks. The risk of job displacement as automation takes over tasks once done by humans, the risk of misinformation as AI-generated content floods the internet, making it harder to tell what's real. The risk of these are not hypothetical threats. They're real, and they're growing. At the same time, there's so much potential. AI can help solve some of the biggest challenges we face. climate change, global health, food security. It can analyze patterns humans can't see, optimize systems that are too complex for us to manage, and create solutions we've never thought of. But it can't do it alone. It needs SOR wisdom, our ethics, our values. So maybe the question isn't, is AI a threat or an ally? Maybe the question is, what kind of world do we want to live in? A world where machines make decisions for us or with us. A world where technology divides us or unites us. A world driven by profit and power, or by empathy and purpose. These are big questions, and there are no easy answers. But one thing is clear. We can't afford to be passive observers. We need to be active participants. We need to shape the future of AI with intention, care, and courage. Because the future is not something that just happens. It's something we build one decision at a time. So let's keep learning, keep questioning, keep dreaming. Because the age of artificial intelligence is not just about machines, it's about us, about who we are and who we want to become. If you think about it, the way we talk about artificial intelligence often reveals how we feel about ourselves. We call it smart, powerful, even creative. We imagine it taking over, surpassing us, replacing us. But underneath all that, there's a deeper fear. What if we're not in control? What if we create something we can't fully understand? That fear is real, and it shows up everywhere. In our conversations, in the media, in the decisions made in boardrooms and research labs. But it also shows us something important. It shows that this is not just about technology, it's about trust. Trust in what we're building, and in the people building it. And that brings us to one of the most complicated issues in the world of AI. Who is actually making the decisions? Right now, the development of artificial intelligence is being led by a relatively small group of companies and institutions, most of them located in a few powerful countries. These companies control vast amounts of data, enormous computing power, and the talent to develop cutting-edge models. That might sound efficient, but it's also dangerous, because when so much power is concentrated in so few hands, the rest of the world is left with very little say in how that power is used. This creates what some experts call a democracy gap. In artificial intelligence, while AI has the potential to impact every aspect of our lives from how we work to how we vote, most people have no idea how it works or how decisions are made. And the more advanced the technology becomes, the more that gap grows. That's a problem. Because the values built into these systems are not just technical, they're deeply human. They reflect beliefs about what is fair, what is right, what matters. And those beliefs are not the same everywhere. Different cultures have different ideas about privacy, about freedom, about responsibility. If AI is developed without taking these differences into account, it risks imposing a narrow set of values on the whole world. That's why global cooperation is so important. We need to treat AI not just as a technological challenge, but as a social one that requires input from people across backgrounds, regions, and perspectives. Because if we want AI to serve humanity, it needs to understand humanity in all its complexity. AI has the power to connect us like never before. It can translate languages in real time. It can help bridge educational gaps. It can even assist in diplomacy and peace building. But it can also be used to divide us, to spread misinformation, to deepen echo chambers, to manipulate opinions. That's not because AI is evil. It's because it amplifies whatever we feed into it. If we feed it division, it will divide. If we feed it understanding, it might just help us understand each other better. So where do we go from here? One step is transparency. We need to know how AI systems make decisions. That doesn't mean everyone has to be a programmer, but it does mean we need clear explanations, accessible language, and open access to information. People should be able to ask, why did this system suggest that? And get a meaningful answer. We also need strong regulations that protect human rights, ensure fairness, and hold developers accountable, not to slow down progress but to guide it in the right direction. Another step is education, not just in schools, but everywhere, in communities, workplaces, and homes. People need to understand not just what AI is, but what it means, how it works, where it gets its power, what it can and can't do. Because informed citizens are empowered citizens. And the more people understand AI, the better we can shape its future together. And then there's the question of purpose. What are we actually trying to achieve with it? Is it just about making things faster, cheaper, more efficient? Or is it about something deeper, about improving human well-being, protecting the planet, expanding creativity, strengthening relationships? These are questions of vision, and vision matters. Because the tools we build reflect the goals we set. If our only goal is profit, we'll get tools that serve profit. But if our goal is justice, compassion, or sustainability, we might get something very different. We're already seeing glimpses of that future. Artists using AI to create beautiful, moving works of digital art. Scientists using machine learning to uncover new insights in biology and physics. Doctors using AI to catch diseases earlier and more accurately. Farmers using smart sensors to reduce waste and feed more people. These are not dreams, they are happening now. But they're not happening everywhere. and not for everyone. That's where we need to be careful. Because just like the internet, AI can widen the gap between those who have access and those who don't. If we're not careful, the digital divide could become an AI divide. And the consequences would be even more serious. Entire communities could be left behind, not just economically, but socially, culturally, intellectually. That's not the future we want. So what kind of future do we want? A world where technology is a tool for empowerment, not control. A world where people are at the center, not the sidelines. A world where machines serve us, not the other way around. It sounds simple, but it requires bold choices. It means investing in ethics as much as in code. It means putting humanity before efficiency. It means recognizing that progress is not just about what we can do, but about what we should do. And at the heart of all this is a very old question. What does it mean to be human? In a world where machines can write poems, compose music, diagnose illness, and even have conversations, what's left for us? The answer, maybe, is everything. Because while machines can mimic many things, they still can't feel love. They can't suffer loss. They don't know what it means to forgive, to hope, to believe. Those are our gifts, and they matter more than ever. So let's not try to compete with machines at being machines. Let's focus on being more human, more thoughtful, more creative, more compassionate. Let's build a world where AI doesn't replace us, but reflects the best in us. Because in the end, the story of artificial intelligence is not really about the machines. It's about us, about our fears, our hopes, our dreams, and about the choices we make now together. As we come closer to the heart of this conversation, something becomes clear. Artificial intelligence is not a distant force. It's here, right now, evolving with us, shaped by our intentions, our fears, and our hopes. And it's not slowing down. Every day, new breakthroughs are made, new models, faster processors, more complex algorithms. What once seemed impossible is becoming routine. Machines are composing symphonies, generating hyperrealistic images, diagnosing rare diseases, even engaging in philosophical conversations. It's breathtaking, it's inspiring, and it's deeply unsettling, because with every step forward, we're confronted by deeper questions. What happens when AI starts making decisions about life and death? In autonomous vehicles or medical triage systems? What happens when synthetic voices can be cloned perfectly? And deepfaked videos blurred the line between real and fake so completely that truth itself becomes unstable? What happens when AI systems are trained to manipulate emotions, not just understand them? These aren't questions for tomorrow. They are questions for today. And we don't need to wait for some sci-fi scenario to deal with them. The future is already knocking. The question is, are we answering with responsibility? One of the hardest parts of this journey is that we're rebuilding a technology we don't fully understand. Even the scientists and engineers who design AI systems often admit they don't completely grasp how complex models make certain decisions. These systems learn in ways that are not always transparent. They develop patterns and associations that elude even their creators. It's like watching a child grow up incredibly fast, except the child is absorbing the entire internet and learning to speak in our voice. When we lose interpretability, we lose control. And when we lose control, we risk giving power to something we can no longer guide. But here's where we need to slow down, not to stop progress, but to make space for reflection. We need to create environments where innovation walks hand in hand with ethics, where the people designing the future are guided not only by technical excellence, but by moral clarity, where we ask not just can we, but should we? These are not questions of weakness. They are questions of wisdom. And wisdom doesn't come from data. It comes from experience, from stories, from relationships, from history. It comes from listening to each other, especially those who have been excluded from technological conversations for far too long. Indigenous communities, disabled individuals, marginalized voices, they all hold perspectives that can help us build more inclusive and empathetic, because the future should not be something that happens to us. It should be something we all shape together. Think about children growing up today. They are digital natives, raised in a world of smartphones, virtual assistants, and algorithmic influence. Their reality is very different from what we knew. They don't separate online and offline the way older generations do. For them, technology is not a tool, it's a layer of life. And that is why it is so important to ask, what kind of world are we creating for them? Are we teaching them to be critical thinkers? To question what they see, to value human connection in a sea of digital noise. Because no matter how advanced machines become, they will never replace the messy, beautiful, unpredictable magic of human life. The ability to feel, to care, to grieve, to laugh, the ability to tell stories, to make mistakes, to forgive, to grow. These are not weaknesses. They are the essence of what makes us human, and they are irreplaceable. So instead of fearing AI, let's guide it. Let's shape it with intention. Let's teach it what matters. Not just productivity, but empathy. Not just accuracy, but fairness. Not just efficiency, but justice. Let's remember that we are not just passengers on this journey. We are the drivers, the engineers, the storytellers, and we still have time. Time to make bold decisions. Time to regulate with wisdom. Time to educate with honesty. Time to collaborate across borders and beliefs. Because artificial intelligence doesn't have to be a threat. It can be a mirror that helps us see ourselves more clearly. A challenge that pushes us to evolve not just technologically, but ethically, spiritually, emotionally. A reminder that our greatest strength isn't in what we build but in why we build it. So let's choose a future where AI is not the end of humanity, but the beginning of a more enlightened one. Let's use this moment not to retreat in fear, but to rise with purpose. Let's keep asking the hard questions, and let's have the courage to listen to the answers, even when they challenge us, especially when they challenge us. Because at the end of the day, artificial intelligence is only as powerful, as wise, and as human as we make it. And that's the greatest opportunity of all. Thank you for listening, for thinking, for staying curious. The journey doesn't end here. This is just the beginning. Keep exploring, keep questioning, and above all, keep believing in the kind of world we can create together.